Well, it is our final show before the Super Bowl, and I always think this show is a bittersweet show. Monday, we'll be obviously reacting to the Super Bowl. There'll probably be some further reaction on Tuesday. But then you stare off into the distance, and there's no football until like August that matters at a high level again. Now, there's other sports. There's other things that we can be excited about. NCAA tournament is not very far, especially after not having had the NCAA tournament last year. I think people are even more committed to how excited they are about the NCAA tournament. But to me, this is always one that kind of hangs out there. And as much fun as you might have for the Super Bowl, it's also bittersweet because, again, it's the last game for a long time. With that in mind, this is as good of a Super Bowl matchup as I can remember in a very, very long time. If you go back and run through matchups for Super Bowls, it's typically the quarterbacks that make a Super Bowl iconic. And it's rare that we get two of the greats. And some of you might say, well, it's early to be calling Patrick Mahomes one of the greats. Barring some sort of significant injury, there's no way that Patrick Mahomes is not going to be one of the 10 best NFL quarterbacks of all time. I am willing to go ahead and elevate him to that pantheon of one of the greats of all time at the quarterback position, barring injury, which obviously would have to be pretty devastating for him to suddenly not be great. Or maybe, I guess, there's always the possibility he could pull a Jordan or an Andrew Luck and decide to ride off into the sunset long before we anticipate his career coming to a close. But Mahomes' trajectory is, to me, going to be really interesting to follow because, look, he's a decent athlete, but ultimately he's a pocket passer. And if you look at the other pocket passers in this league, guys who make quick decisions, get rid of the football, don't put themselves regularly in substantial harm's way, they can play a long time in this league, especially as every year and certainly every decade, quarterbacks are getting protected more. You look at Mahomes, he's the next in the lineage of a Tom Brady, a Peyton Manning, a Drew Brees, a guy who is in the pocket and can play until he's late 30s, early 40s, if, again, he has a decent health run. And so the idea that Patrick Mahomes is already been in 3 straight AFC championship games and now in his 2nd straight Super Bowl by the age of 25, he is his generation's Tom Brady. And so I can't wait. I mean, if Patrick Mahomes wins, the storyline for that is going to be, well, Mahomes now has beaten Brady, and long range, that could be massive for his legacy. Because if you want to analogize it, Mahomes is in the shadow of Tom Brady right now. And if he wants to be able to make a case one day for being anywhere near as good as Tom Brady, beating Tom Brady in a Super Bowl would massively help that case. Now, granted, Brady's 43 years old. This is not Brady at the apex of his career. Mahomes is only 25, so it's not really Mahomes at the apex of his career either. But we never got to see Michael Jordan and LeBron James ever meet up in an NBA Finals at any point in their careers. This feels like it could be a debate that we are having a decade from now, whether or not Patrick Mahomes can be as good as Brady. And if Brady is able to go out and win this game, if he now has, let's say he only plays Patrick Mahomes 2 times in major scenario playoff situations. Brady and the Patriots went on the road 2 years ago and they won the AFC Championship game in Kansas City. And if Brady could follow it up by winning the Super Bowl against Mahomes, I think it would make it virtually impossible for Patrick Mahomes to ever catch him in the greatest of all time debate. Because ultimately the trump card that you would have, even if Mahomes got somewhat similar in terms of the number of Super Bowls that he's in, even if he got somewhat similar in that respect, then you would still have the ultimate trump card. Well, they played twice, and Brady got him twice in the AFC Championship game And then of course, the Patriots went on to win the Super Bowl that year against the Rams. And then also, he got him in the Super Bowl at the age of 43. But when you start going through and thinking about the way that we talk about Super Bowls, I was thinking, like just matchups, iconic matchups between quarterbacks. There aren't a lot of them that are anywhere near historically what this one is, right? Like you think about the Super Bowls and the winners and who played and all of those different aspects. And I can just sit here and kind of run through, like just think about the last several. Okay, last year you had Patrick Mahomes against Jimmy Garoppolo. I think most people felt that Mahomes was a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback. Jimmy G, not quite there. Brady going up against Jared Goff, not really there. Now, this game was iconic because of the performance Nick Foles put on the field and because the Eagles finally won a Super Bowl. But the matchup between Nick Foles and Brady, nowhere near as iconic. Probably the best Super Bowl matchup that we've seen in the last 5 years prior to this one was Tom Brady going up against Matt Ryan with the big comeback, which obviously was a massive storyline. But I think we have to go all the way back. And then you had Peyton Manning getting the win over Cam Newton. That's the last 5, by the way. I think we have to go all the way back to New England against the Seattle, the last time that we saw two big-time bona fide stud quarterbacks, Russell Wilson and Tom Brady, going head-to-head. The year before that, Russell Wilson going head-to-head with Peyton Manning. There just aren't very many of these games. Like I'm running through right now, we had Joe Flacco against Colin Kaepernick. We had Eli Manning going up against Brady. Obviously, that was the famous season when New England was trying to go 19-0, and the Giants were, I think, 12.5-point underdogs. Then you have the Super Bowl that got the win for Aaron Rodgers against the Steelers. Running through all these, Drew Brees against Peyton Manning. You had Ben Roethlisberger going up against Kurt Warner. Then you had the other Eli Manning against the Patriots. Peyton Manning against Rex Grossman. You had Ben Roethlisberger against Dilfer. No, not Dilfer. Against Hasselbeck in that game. Like you start to run through all these different games as I'm kind of rolling through all of them with you, and what you see is iconic matchups between these two guys. I'm going all the way back, and I'm not sure the last time we had a matchup that was this iconic between two guys like this. Maybe all the way back to 1998 when you had John Elway going up against Brett Favre when Denver got the win against Green Bay. I don't think that's a crazy argument to toss out there that this is the best matchup of quarterbacks going all the way back to 1998. In other words, a generational battle of quarterbacks, and arguably, given what we know about Tom Brady's career already, and given what we think about Patrick Mahomes' career projecting into the future, I think there's a strong argument that this is one of those Super Bowls that we talk about for a generation to come. And I don't know how good the game's going to be, and it's possible that if one team kind of runs away with it, that it's not going to have the same overall sort of resonance in our minds. But I think this is the kind of matchup that we are using in an argument about the greatest quarterbacks of all time a generation from now. I doubt that I'll still be doing sports talk radio at 60, but I think I could sit down at the age of 60 and I could be saying, hey, you know what this matchup reminds me of when we're talking about the end of Patrick Mahomes' career? It reminds me of back when he played Tom Brady. My voice starts to sound like an old man's by then. And I think there are a lot of angles that are going to come out of this game that are going to last far longer than what occurs on the field in this one. Now, that's not to take anything away from this particular year on the field, because I also think that there are so many different moving parts associated with the COVID year that there's also going to be, I think, years and years into the future, this is the kind of year they'll do a ton of sports documentaries about. 2020 was so wild. I think we'll be watching and hearing about this season and the NFL's accomplishment in being able to get this game played for a long, long time into the future. So we are setting up for what I believe could be, I'm crossing my fingers, I'm hoping that we're going to have an epic final contest here that we have a lot of fun talking about for the rest of this day and also on Monday and Tuesday as we unpack whatever happens in the Super Bowl going forward.